What if I told you it's possible to catch fish every single time you go fishing? I'm not talking about luck. I'm not talking about having the most expensive gear. I'm not talking about knowing some secret honey hole. I'm talking about a method, a system, a way of thinking that guarantees results. Sounds too good to be true? I thought so too, until I figured out what anglers who always catch fish do differently. And it's not complicated. In fact, it's simple. So simple, you're going to wonder why you never thought of it before. Today I'm teaching you this method, step by step. No fluff. If you're tired of coming home empty-handed while other guys are loading the live well, stick around until the end. This video might change your fishing forever. Before I teach you the method, I need to destroy a lie first. The lie you've been told is that fishing depends on luck. Today wasn't my lucky day. That guy's just luckier than me. Luck wasn't on my side. Lie, lie, lie. Fishing doesn't depend on luck. It never has. The guy who always catches fish isn't luckier than you. He knows things you don't know. He does things you don't do. And while you're believing in luck, he's applying a method. Luck is the excuse of people who don't want to admit they don't know how to fish properly. Hard to hear? I know, but it's the truth. And the truth is the first step to stop being mediocre at fishing. If you want to swap luck for a real method, the Bass Fishing Definitive Guide is in the first link in the description. But stay with me till the end because I'm going to prove exactly why luck doesn't exist in fishing. The method I'm about to teach you is based on 4 pillars, 4 things you need to get right to catch fish consistently. Pillar 1, right spot. Pillar 2, right time. Pillar 3, right lure. Pillar 4, right technique. Sounds obvious, right? But most anglers mess up at least 2 of these pillars every single time they fish. And then they blame luck. When you nail all 4, catching fish becomes a consequence. It's no longer a question of if you'll catch fish. It's a question of how many. Now let me break down each pillar in detail. Pay attention because every single one matters. First pillar, being in the right spot. You can do everything else perfectly, but if there's no fish where you're casting, you're not catching anything. Seems obvious. But how many times have you shown up at the lake and just started fishing from the first convenient spot? Anglers who always catch fish do it differently. They find the fish before they start fishing. How? By observing. Look for surface activity. Base-busting bait, swirls, movement. That shows you where they're active. Look for structure, fallen trees, docks, weed lines, rock piles, base love structure, because that's where they ambush prey. Look for depth changes, drop-offs, ledges, creek channels. Base, relate to these transitions. Look for bait fish. If you see shad or bluegill activity, there's probably base nearby. This analysis takes 5 minutes, but it completely changes your results. Don't fish where it's convenient. Fish where the base are. That's the first pillar. Second pillar, fishing at the right time. Bass don't feed all day long. They have periods of higher activity. If you fish at the wrong time, you can be in the perfect spot with the perfect lure and catch nothing, because the fish simply aren't eating. What are the best times? Dawn and dusk. These are the golden hours. At dawn, light is low, water temperature's comfortable, base moves shallow to feed. At dusk, same thing. Light decreases, temperature drops, and base get active again. The worst time? Middle of the day. From about 10 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, especially in summer, bass tend to hunker down and get lethargic. Weather changes also activate base. Before a cold front moves in, they often feed aggressively. The mistake most people make? Showing up at the lake at 10 a.m. and leaving at 3 p.m. Exactly the window of least activity. If that's your only option, don't give up. But adjust your expectations and technique. Focus on deeper structure where bass hide from the sun, but whenever possible, be on the water at dawn or dusk. Third pillar. And this is where most anglers mess up the most. Using the right lure. There's no magic lure that works every time. What exists is the right lure for each situation. And here's the problem. Most anglers choose lures by habit, by what their buddy recommended, or by what was on sale at the tackle shop. Almost nobody stops to think if that lure makes sense for the situation. The right lure depends on three factors. First, the target fish and their mood. Active bass-chasing bait, reaction baits like spinnerbaits, crankbaits, topwater, lethargic bass sitting tight to cover, finesse baits like drop shots, Ned rigs, shaky heads, spawning bass on beds, soft plastics you can work slowly in the strike zone. Second, water conditions. Clear water calls for natural colors and subtle presentations. Stained or muddy water calls for bright colors and baits with vibration or noise. Cold water calls for slow presentations. Warm water allows faster, more aggressive retrieves. Third, the environment. Heavy cover with lots of snags, Texas rigs, punch baits, weedless frogs. Open water? Treble hooks are fine. Crankbaits, jerkbaits, swim baits. When you combine these three factors, you arrive at the right lure. And when you nail the lure selection, bass bite. Fourth pillar, using the right technique. You can be in the right spot, at the right time, with the right lure. But if you work the bait wrong, you're not catching anything. Technique is how you present the lure to the fish. Speed, cadence, pauses, depth control. All of this matters. And here's the secret that few understand. The same lure can crush it or fail miserably depending on how you work it. Active bass in warm water busting bait on the surface. Fast and aggressive retrieves. Lethargic bass in cold water buried in cover. Slow presentations with long pauses. Your technique needs to match the mood of the fish at that moment. And how do you know the mood of the fish? By testing. Start with one approach. If it doesn't work in 15 or 20 minutes, change. Change the speed, change the cadence, change the depth. Good anglers are always adapting. They never get stuck on just one technique. Patience isn't about sitting and waiting. It's about having the composure to test, analyze, and change when needed. Now I need to tell you about the mistake that ruins everything. You can know all four pillars and still fail. You know why? Because most people apply the pillars separately. They don't connect them. They think about the spot, then they think about the time, then the lure, then the technique. But they don't think about how it all connects. The method works when all four pillars work together. The spot determines what kind of bass are there and how they are positioned. The type of cover and depth determines the lure. The time determines the activity level of the bass. The activity level determines the technique. See how one pillar feeds the next? It's a system, not four separate things. When you think this way, everything clicks. The decisions become clear, and the results show up. The angler who always catches fish isn't smarter than you. He just learned to connect the dots. Now you know too. Last point, and maybe the most important, mindset. No method works if you don't have the right mindset. Anglers who always catch fish have three characteristics. 1, they're present. When they're fishing, they're 100% focused, not distracted by their phone, not thinking about work problems. They're connected to the water, the rod, every movement of the line. 2, they're always learning. A bad day isn't frustration, it's a lesson. They analyze what they could have done differently, and they come back better. 3, they never stop evolving. No matter how many years they've been fishing, they're always seeking to learn more. This mindset is what transforms knowledge into results. The four pillars give you the method. The mindset gives you consistency. Now you know the method. The four pillars: right spot, right time, right lure, right technique, how they connect. And the mindset that makes it all work. From today on, you don't need to depend on luck anymore. You have a system, a way of thinking, a method that works. Catching fish every time you go fishing isn't fantasy. It's the consequence of doing the right things. Now it's on you. Apply it or don't. The choice is yours. So which of the four pillars do you think you were messing up the most? Drop it in the comments. I want to know where you're going to focus first. If you want the complete method, fully detailed with all the lure combinations and techniques, I put everything in the Bass Fishing Definitive Guide. First link in the description. It's the shortcut so you don't have to learn everything by trial and error. If this video helped you, smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. New videos every week to transform your fishing. Thanks for watching until the end. Tight lines. See you in the next one.